Hey everybody, this is Carla R. Jenkins. Welcome to an all-new episode of Projectized, the project management show, where I'm going to end my three-part series for direct and manage project work, which if you are following along in Project Management Body of Knowledge, 6th edition, it's 4.3. It's part of the project integration management knowledge area, where if you are a project manager, this knowledge area is your purview and your responsibility. Moreover, 4.3 is also in the executing group. So to give people a little bit background, there are 5 domains in the project management body of knowledge: initiating, planning, executing, monitor, controlling, and closing. We are currently with direct and managed project work in the executing process group, where you're doing all of the project work and you are using the bulk of your resources, you and your project team. So I'm going to continue for part 3 with outputs. And so there's 7 of them. And outputs is after you do the inputs, you apply the tools and techniques to the input you have, you now have outputs. So your first one is deliverables. And your deliverables is the work products that you have, any type of product, anything that can be useful for a product, service, or result. And deliverable is key when it comes to project management. I know that some people watch this show because they're studying for the project management professional or certified associate, which is great. I very much encourage it. That's one of the reasons why I did Projectized. I created Projectized for 3 reasons: to discuss the business of project management, how businesses use project management, and obtaining project management certification. So I'm going on to page 95 of the Project Management Body of Knowledge 6th edition. The definition of deliverable is any unique and verifiable product, result, or capability to perform a service that is required to be produced and to complete a process, phase, or project. Deliverables are typically the outcomes of the project and can be included in components of the project management plan. So that is an important definition if you do decide to pursue the certification exam, because deliverable and project management kind of go together. The second thing is work performance data. So that's the raw observations that you get. So as I mentioned, you're currently in the executing processing group, where you are doing the work, you're getting instant feedback, you're getting, reports and numbers. So the numbers that you're getting based on the work performance that you're doing, that's the work performance data. Is raw. You haven't synthesized it. You haven't used any analyses. You haven't done any earned value management, any calculations. It's just numbers that are coming in, and that's an output for this process. Number 3 is the issue log, and the issue log is a log of any issues that you have on the project. So if you're doing work, you're going to run into bottlenecks, you're going to run into issues. You document it, and some of the data on the issues, some of the categories are issue type, who raised the issue and when, description, priority, who's assigned the issue, target resolution date, status, and final resolution. So that's some of the categories that will be on the issue log. And resolving issues is extremely important. So even though that's an output, that's something that you as the project manager, you want to resolve. Next is change request. The definition of a change request is the formal proposal to modify any document, deliverable, or baseline. I'm also going to go over the 3 different types of change requests, as I mentioned in the previous 2 episodes. The first one for the inputs, the second one for tools and techniques. Preventative action is when you find an error before you do the work. Corrective action is the change request that you submit after doing the work and you find the error. Both preventative action and corrective action is when you and your project team find the error. It's internal. Defect repair is when it's external. It's when the customer finds the error. How do I know this? Because the definition of defect repair is Any intentional activity to modify a non-conforming product or product component. If you were to go to page 96 of the Project Management Body of Knowledge 6th edition, you would notice that neither preventative action nor corrective action have the word non-conforming product. That means it's internal. Um, and also another thing with change requests is I'm going to go back to the formal definition of direct and managed project work. And so the formal definition of this process is direct and managed project work is the process of leading and performing the work defined in the project management plan and implementing approved changes to achieve the project's objective. So the fact that it says approved changes, that's currently what you're working on right now. So that's where the change requests come in when you make additional changes. The fourth one is the project management plan updates. Well, project management plan updates, any part of the project management plan and or the baselines can be updated when you do the work. Next is project document updates. You'll have an updated activity list, assumption log, lesson learned register, requirements documentation, risk register, and stakeholder register. So activity lists are the list of activities it takes for you to do the work. And I want you to have an understanding of the process. So say it takes you 5 different activities to complete a work package or some type of work. That's what's on your activity list. So I wanted to highlight that assumption log is what you're currently assuming, and they could be corrected in the output when you're doing the work. Your lessons learned register is any lessons you learn from doing project work, project execution. Requirements documentation could change because what you thought you planned for in the requirements management plan. Now, if you go back or any form of the project management plan, your requirements may have changed. Um, Submit a change request for that. Risk register is writing down all of the identified risk. So when you're doing work, new risks may come up. You can have a secondary risk, which is when you resolve a risk, you get a kick out of another risk that you didn't have before. And then stakeholder register is where you write down all of your stakeholders. Finally, your organizational process updates, like your updates for your policies, your guidelines, standard operating procedures, and the like. So that's this. Episode. This concludes this episode. We're not done. We got Friday, and I always shout out people who are here. So for live, some of the people, I'm going to YouTube again. Trey X and Tone Bangers for taking out the time to watch me live. I greatly appreciate it. Also, as I mentioned, it's not over. I will be back on Friday for a new episode of Projectized. So whether you're watching on Periscope, YouTube Live, or Instagram Live, check me out Mondays through Fridays, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you in the next episode of Projectized. Goodbye.